Okay, so this is going to be part one of how to use a graphing calculator. If you've never used one before, it saves a lot of time and a lot of brain power, so it can be really helpful during the test since there is a time limit. So right now I'm using a TI-84. If you notice that your screen looks different than mine, or things aren't exactly the same, your calculator may need to be updated, and that can be arranged. Or you could borrow one of the ones that we often get from Mrs. Veenstra or any of the math teachers for our competitions. So, if you haven't already, turn on your calculator with the on button. I already did. But what I want to do first is bring your attention to this second key. And when I press it, my cursor turns into a little blinking arrow. And what this does, it is allow us to highlight any of the text written here in blue above these numbers and black buttons. So let's say we want to find the square root of something. Right above the x squared button, we can see the square root bar. If we press x squared, now we have our square root bar, and we can type whatever we need to know. Okay, let's clear to get rid of that. Speaking of more second options, we can press second and then this caret key, and now we have pi. So this will help us get some really accurate answers. You can use this or 3.14, clear again. This caret key is actually really helpful for more complicated exponents. So how about we want to know 3 caret key to the power of 8. So what I did was I pressed 3 caret 8. You can still see that our cursor is in the up position. If we just arrow right, now we're back down to regular typing, and we could type whatever we needed. But for this one, let's just do 3 to the power of 8. Press enter, and now we got a nice, clean, and concise answer. So now that we have that, I wanted to mention that the graphing calculator is super helpful in writing some really complicated equations and just simplifying it and doing the order of operations without any thinking needed. So if we have a formula that our study guide may give us, we can just plug in whatever we need as long as we know the formula, and then allow the calculator to do all the work for us. So I'm just going to make up a random equation here. Just make it really complicated and annoying. Okay, so now we have something that looks like this. And if we press enter, you can see that we didn't have to do any extra work to find this answer. And that will save us so much time, especially since there is a time limit. Let's talk a little bit about some mistakes that we made that we can save time with. So, like I said, complicated equations can be really easily solved, but if you make an error in your writing, I'm just making up an equation here, plus 8. Okay, so let's say that we didn't actually want to take 4 to the 9th power, and we actually wanted 4 to the 5th power. So if we just arrow back, we can change what we wanted to say. So right now I have the 9 highlighted above the 4, and let's do what we wanted. We want 5. So we just typed 5, arrow back over, and now we can get our answer. Also, same thing if we wanted to delete something. So let's write another ugly equation. Okay, that's just another random equation. And let's say I accidentally typed this 9 right here and we just want 5. So let's arrow over again, highlight the 9, and then rather than pressing clear and getting rid of all of the work that we just did, we can simply just press delete, and now we have exactly what we wanted without having to clear our entire calculator. So let's press enter, and then we got another answer. So that's complicated equations writing. So what if we got an answer when we typed in our calculator that is a decimal and we want it to be a fraction? So let's just take a random equation here, and we get this really annoying fraction that we don't want to work with. So we can use this math button here to really quickly turn it into a fraction that is already simplified for us. So let's press this math button, and you can see right here that math is highlighted, and our first option is frac. That is short for fraction, so let's press enter. And now we have answer, frac. The answer we got is this fraction right here. So let's press enter. And now we have a super pretty fraction to work with and answer our question. Going back into this math, we can see that there is a lot of different things that we could do just in the math section. If we arrow over, now we can see that number is highlighted. We can see that ABS is short for absolute value. So now we're given these absolute value bars. So if you don't remember how to properly do absolute value, or you have an equation that includes absolute value, you can just really quickly find the answer to whatever you need. And you can see that the absolute value of -5 is 5. So let's clear to get rid of that. Back to the math button. We're going to arrow over. We're going to ignore the CPX, and then we're going to go to probability. This is really helpful for what we are doing in our current math section. So let's arrow down to 4, and then we can see that we have this exclamation point here. So let's press enter, and then we can see we have answer, exclamation point. This is our factorial function. So if we arrow right and then we're highlighted on answer here, we can find the factorial answer for anything that we want to know. So how about we want to know the answer to 8 factorial? Super simple and easy, and it does it all in the calculator. So let's clear again, go back to math. I wanted to talk about some more probability stuff. Here's where we can find our permutations in number 2 and our combinations in number 3. So in order to go back, let's press second mode. We just quit, and now we're back in our regular screen. So how about we want to find a combination with 14 items, go back to math, arrow over to probability, go down to 3 because we want combination. So we have 14 combination, and then let's do 5. And then we got our answer just nicely written out for us. So that'll be it for part 2. That'll be it for part 1. Check out part 2 for how to graph lines.